Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about my absent work system. This I think I've used, gosh, I don't know how long it's been. I feel like it's been the entire time I've been teaching that this has been my system, but that's not true because part of it hinges on having this bulletin board in my classroom, and I don't think I had it till like my second or third year. So I don't quite remember what it was that I was doing before that, but I'll tell you what I've been doing now and what's been working for me over the past several years. So let's jump into it. Okay, so I feel like I'm going to have to now break this down into two different segments. We'll talk about the paper and then we'll talk about digitally what happens with absent work. So being a math teacher, I really like things done on paper because it's, you know, the best place to practice where you can see all the work that students did so they can see their work for later, etc. I'm a paper person no matter what. Even though I am in love with like my iPad and everything, I rely on paper for a lot. So we do notes on paper, we do a lot of activities on paper. So as long as it's something that students can do later on, I will save a copy of the paperwork for them. If it's notes, obviously that gets saved. That's like the easiest one. The one exception is if we are doing some kind of an activity where there was material that I cannot prepare for students that are absent, I just kind of let it go. This could be like, there's an activity I do every year with Play-Doh. If they miss that day, they miss the opportunity to play with Play-Doh. I can't really recreate certain things, and that would be like one of them. I have some matching activities where it's like a physical matching activity. I have everything laminated. There's little Velcro dots that hold the activity together. If they're absent that day, I'm not giving them like a cut and paste version of the activity. It's just too much. Too much for me to worry about, too much for them to worry about, because then they have to find the supplies and everything. Things like that, I just let it go. And that's why I love digital stuff now, but we'll get to that later. So I'll save a copy of every paper that was passed out during class. And I actually have like an absent work folder on my desk. It was shown in my desktop paper flow video, so I'll link that below just so you can see like where that is. But I save copies of everything that we passed out for the students that were absent. Then I'll take those papers that I set aside for each absent student and I'll attach one of these forms. So this is going to be linked below. It's free in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. You get 3 forms to a page, and on each form I put on their name, the day that they're absent, the work that they have to make up, which usually is going to be like notes, and if it's my geometry course with an interactive notebook, I tell them the page title, the page number. The next line is work to turn in. So if they have to turn something in to me, whether it's like homework or like a practice that we did, I'll write that out there. I put the due date on it. So our school policy is that students get as many days as they're absent to make up the work. So usually on the date of their absence, I only know that they're going to be absent for 1 day. So I'll put that 1 day on there. Or if it was like homework, they get a week to do it, and I just put whatever the due date is for the homework. Then the last line says you are/are not missing a quiz that needs to be made up by, and there's a date there. So I circle are or are not depending on the student. So if they miss a quiz the day that they're absent, then I'll say that they are missing a quiz, and then I give them 2 days to make it up because our school's schedule is on a 2-day rotation, and sometimes they have a study hall on one of the days but not both. So I give them the 2 full days to make up the quiz. That way it would catch both days in case, you know, they are in that situation where study hall is one of the days but not both. So this little form actually saves me a lot of time. You know, it is a time investment to fill it out, but then I'm not answering questions from students about, you know, what did they miss, what do they have to do, because from one day to the next, I'm probably not going to remember. Like if they're absent on Monday and they come back on Wednesday, I'm probably forgetting like what day exactly something is due for them. And I can go look it up on my roster and see when they were absent and stuff, but I don't have time to do that in the middle of a class, or, you know, even at the beginning of class sometimes it's hard. So this just saves a lot of time because it communicates everything that they need to know without me having to stop and think about it. So once I have all their paper gathered, I will staple this form to that paper, and then I'll put it in the folder for the class period that is stapled to the wall. So there are folders for each class, they're color coded, they are labeled. So if a student is absent from A period, they can go over to the A period folder and find their packet with their name on it. And what I love about this is that it's visual. If there is something there for someone, you're going to see it because it's sticking out of the folder. There's another absent work system that's really popular that involves hanging file folders, and you know I love hanging file folders. But the thing with that is that the papers are all going inside of the folder, and you know, if it's out of sight, it is out of mind. I mean, as it is, students forget to check for their absent work anyway because, you know, for the most part, students aren't absent routinely. I mean, we have those that are, of course, but you know, just your average student is absent once in a great while. So they, you know, kind of forget to do this, which I completely understand. But having that folder where the papers are sticking out, it makes it really visual so that they see that there is something there for them. And now, of course, we have an entire digital component to this whole process. So previously, before COVID, I would put up all the notes on a Google site. It was messy. Actually, I think I had to put them into a Google Drive folder that was shared on a Google site. Like, it was this whole thing, and it worked, don't get me wrong, but having Google Classroom just makes everything so much easier. So with Google Classroom, I schedule out for material to be posted that will include the PDF printout of the notes if students wanted to print it at home. It will include any activities that we do. Sometimes it won't be like material in Google Classroom, but an assignment that they need to turn in. And I will include the video, if I have one, of the lesson. So that's scheduled to be posted at 8 a.m. every day. And then when I conclude the lesson during the class period, I will take the notes that we did on Smart Notebook, I will export them to a PDF version, and I will upload that PDF into that Google Classroom assignment or material so that students can reference that. And that's for everyone in the class. It's not just for the absent students. So I love that it's there for everyone. It's easy to find. Even students in class can go back and see the video. I love that about Google Classroom. But what's really cool is that since it's up there that day in Google Classroom, the students that are absent could potentially work from home if they're able to. And I have students that, you know, will do that and they'll watch the video. They'll still get a paper copy of the notes when they return, but if they really wanted to print them out and had that capability, you know, they could have it done the next day and not have any problems. And if I give them like a Google Form assignment or something else in Google Classroom, they often will go ahead and complete that too, if they're feeling up to it. There's no expectation that they do, it's just sometimes they do. I will say the only thing about this system that is frustrating is just that the Google Classroom component, it's still in a way new to students, which I wasn't expecting going into this year, but I still get questions like, what did we do? Can I get the work? And things like that. And for some students, it's just them being conscientious and on top of everything. But others are actually clueless. And I'm like, guys, it's in Google Classroom, just like it is every day, you know? So that is it. That's everything about my absent work system. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. And as always, thanks for watching.